Hi, my name is Barry Sterling Mitchell. Today is May 4th, 2023, and this is Ben and Barry on football.
What's up out there, everybody? This is Ben Dickerson, your co-host. Lots of stuff to talk about, even though it's the off season. The NFL draft is now completed. So the various media outlets and a lot of the high-profile journalists and so-called NFL insiders have all given out grades to every NFL team as far as how well they did on their draft, quality of players, number of players they got, and all that stuff. Anyway, we're going to talk about that and a couple other things. So I'm ready to go, whatever you say.
All right, then let's rock it with what's your first piece on?
Well, I tell you what, my first piece is going to be a little pat on my own back. Since I mentioned the draft, and oh yeah, we do have to talk about the XFL because we've been talking about them all season, and they're getting near the end of their season. So we will talk about them. But right now, I'm going to pat
Man, let
myself
me let
on
me
the back.
just say something real quick. You said
Yeah, sure.
XFL, USFL, they're into week 4 already.
I thought it was week 3, but it could be week 4. Yeah,
It's only 10 weeks to the season. We're almost halfway through the USFL
right.
season.
We got to. Yeah, we're going to have to focus in on them soon. Absolutely.
All right, go ahead.
But I've been trying to keep my eye on the XFL since you kind of picked up on it as soon as that season started, and we did have some conversation back and forth about who we thought were the better teams and this and that and the other. So I actually had to watch a couple games. I wasn't going to do it, and then I kind of got hooked on some of the teams and blah blah blah. But anyway, um, as everybody knows, if you've been watching, I was doing my mock drafts for the NFL. I had done a mock draft 3.0. That was my third one. And I didn't think I was going to do another, but as we approached the draft, basically right up to the day before, I found that there's some things happened that kind of made me change my mind on some of my picks. So I went ahead and it did a mock draft 4.0. And then I swore that was it. I would do no more. So I didn't. Now, just like I did last year, I was able to grade myself on how my mock draft went. And they put out grades for several of the draft aficionados, so to speak, okay? Namely, Mel Kiper, Todd McShay, Peter King, who I respect quite a bit, and Daniel Jeremiah, who I also respect quite a bit. Just their knowledge of the NFL in general, as far as I'm concerned, they're two of the best guys out there. But anyway, the way the grading system goes is if you mocked a particular player to go to a particular team and got that guy on that team, and that team actually picked that player and picked him in the exact same spot where you said they would, you got 1 point for that. If you got the team and the player right, but not the spot, you got half a point. And if you got the player in the spot, but not the team, right, you got half a point. I finished with a 4.5. Mel Kiper, the guy that's been doing this longer than anybody else in the world, got a 1.5. I think he did so much. He did what I tried not to do, outthink himself. I believe that's what happened. Todd McShay finished with a solid 4.0. Peter King also. Sometimes these guys get too much information. 2.5. The only guy that had a better score than me was Daniel Jeremiah. He finished with a 6.5. So my 4.5 added up this way. The picks I got perfectly, 3 of them. I was shocked. Bryce Harper, number 1 overall at Carolina. I had that. Quarterback Anthony Richardson, number 4 overall to the Colts. I had that. I'm sure a lot of other people did too. This is the one that broke the bank for me. At pick number 31, I exactly picked Felix and Udike. He got me last week. Uzama, okay? The edge rusher to the Kansas City Chiefs at pick number 31. I got that one on the button. Now, That was 3 points right there. The other point and a half came from, I got edge rusher Will Anderson, number 3 overall. He was picked by Houston. I had him number 3 overall to the Cardinals. So I had the right spot, wrong team. And this happens because of trades mostly. CJ Stroud, I had him going to Houston at number 12. He went to Houston at number 2. And cornerback Devin Witherspoon, I had going to Seattle at number 20. Seattle actually traded up and picked him at number 5.
Wow.
So I thought I did pretty good. I had a couple of near misses too. I only wrote down one of them. I didn't get any points for this. Dalton Kincaid went at the 25th pick to Buffalo. I had him going to Dallas at the 26th pick. So I missed it by one.
What happened to the guy that went to Pittsburgh because his dad was there? You got that one.
I got that one on the nose, but it was the second round. He was the first pick of the second round.
The first
so I couldn't take credit. Yeah, I couldn't take credit. But I should take credit for that because he was pick number 32.
I know. It was 32
overall.
Well, no first round 32s this year. So that's
right. So I thought I did really good there. At this point now, I know year after year I got to continue to do this. I'm getting kind of good at this, man. I got a formula, which I'm not going to let anybody know what that formula is.
A secret formula.
But it seems to be working for me. Yeah. But it takes a lot of time on YouTube, and it takes a lot of reading and comparing notes, and you got to watch the combine and look at the combine numbers, and you just the most important thing is you got to check every team's needs. And
but
then
you weren't going to tell us.
No, these are the things that you have to do. Everybody should know this.
Oh, okay.
But I have a formula of how I stack each thing.
Okay.
And its importance. That I'm not going to tell you. Okay. But anyway, that's how I did on my mock draft. Now, let's talk about the XFL for a second.
Yeah, baby.
The old XFL. Let me see. Where's my stuff here? Okay. So the game is this weekend. It's actually Saturday. This Saturday, oh, wait. Didn't I say it was the 13th?
Right.
That's not this Saturday. That's next Saturday.
Yeah, I think they skipped a week. They did a
yes,
Super Bowl
they took a week
thing.
off. Okay, they took a week off like Super Bowl week before.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. That's great. That's wonderful. So we got a little time here. But anyway, this is the way I saw things. Okay, I know we talked about several of these teams and how good they were and how bad some of the divisions were. The Arlington Renegades, which was a below 500 team, they were in fact 4-6, made the best of the opportunity of being the second best team in a really weak division. That qualified them to play in the Southern Division Championship game against the 7-3 Houston Roughnecks, who early in the season kind of were my favorite. The Roughnecks had already beaten them twice during the regular season also, by the way. But now Arlington found themselves one win away from competing for the XFL Championship. They started the game really fast. Their offense was very imaginative. Their run-pass ratios looked really good. I don't know if they had any new concepts or anything because I haven't seen them enough to actually feel out an actual system for them. But whatever they were doing on offense, it seemed to catch the Roughnecks off guard. They opened up an early lead, and they held on in the second half with very inspired defense, and they pulled out the victory. They actually played like a team that had nothing to lose and everything to gain.
They did. They absolutely did have nothing.
Absolutely. which when somebody gives you an opportunity like that, that's what you got to do. You got to let it all hang out. And that's exactly what they did. I think the Roughnecks might have sort of kind of took them a little bit light.
Well, when you beat the team twice during the season,
right?
You know, you have to really guard against that because that would be an easy assumption that we can, we should be able to beat this team.
But guess what? From the pros down to Little League, we know how hard that is.
And yeah, absolutely. Any given Sunday, as they say.
Right.
But the Renegade, and the funny thing was, we talked about how the third place team in the Northern Division, the other division from the Renegades.
Yes, the Battlehawks.
St. Louis Battlehawks, how they couldn't get in with a 7-3 record, but these guys got in with a 4-6 record.
Right. But they have nothing to be ashamed of after that game last week.
Well, if they continue to win like that, they not only will have nothing to be ashamed of, they will be famous for overcoming the odds big time.
They now have that chance, but they will have to play the Northern Division champions. That game was between the number 1 seed, the 9-1 DC Defenders, and the number 2 seed in the Northern Division, which was the 7-3 Seattle Sea Dragons. It's easy to mix that up and say Seahawks.
I know.
Excuse me. By the way, I'm not naming a whole bunch of players because I got so many player names running through my head. And like I said, I haven't watched a lot of the games. But I know one thing. I believe the Sea Dragons do have Josh Gordon, correct?
Yeah. And remember, I did the net point power rankings, and the Sea Dragons actually had a net point advantage.
Yes, they did. And they also had quarterback Ben DiNucci, who won several games for the Dallas Cowboys when Dak Prescott was hurt last season. So we have quality, hot, right off the NFL roster quarterback. And even though he's had his troubles off the field, Josh Gordon, a guy that's trying to get back into the NFL and obviously can still play. The defenders seemed really vulnerable also coming down the stretch of the regular season. You even mentioned these guys don't look right. Like they were having tough times against teams that weren't that good, but somehow they still seem to be able to come away with the victories. They get in this championship game, and they had a real tough battle with I keep trying to say Sea Dragons and not Seahawks. The Sea Dragons. In fact, it was tied up at 9-9 at halftime, but eventually they showed their dominance, and they won the game 37-21. And they played like the undisputed best team in the league. And that's the way I see it. So I'm going to stick with the DC Defenders as the team that I believe will win the championship. Although kudos goes to the Arlington Renegades for what they've accomplished to actually get to the game, considering the type of season that they had. And the Defenders better watch out. That's all I got to say.
Well, let me add. Defenders coach Reggie Barlow was a coach of the year for the XFL. So, and the coach for the Renegades is another venerated coach. And the funny thing was, at the end of the game, he went over and he said to the other coach, he's like, I don't know, man. Three must be a charm, because they had lost twice.
Right, the third time was a charm.
You know what I mean? So
Wade Phillips.
Yeah, thank you. So in any event, third time's a charm. Wade Phillips got through. So you got Wade Phillips versus Reggie Barlow at the coaching level. You got last name Ta'amo. What's his first name? I forget. The quarterback for DC.
Oh, geez. You got me on that one.
Now, Ta'amo is an interesting guy because he can play from the pocket really well, and they don't run him a lot, but they will run him in goal line situations. I've seen him do that, and so he will take off and he will run a little bit of option, just enough to keep a team.
Yeah, he's pretty nimble in the pocket too. I like it.
Yeah, he's. And I remember talking to you about him because when I said, I think I mentioned something about whether he would get any NFL attention, but his passing yardage wasn't real high. He weren't real impressed with his passing yardage. But they got a run game too, and you said they had the best defense last week. You mentioned.
I believe so. Well, the eye test tells me they do. Statistically, I'm not 100%.
Yeah, I don't know. I would have to take a quick look to see if they, point wise, had the best defense. I actually don't think so on a point basis. But, hey, as long as you score more than the other team, everybody's happy.
That's what it's all about.
They had the best record in the league. What are they, 9-1?
9-1.
Yeah, when you come in at 9-1, man, you got to get it done, especially coming against this I can't imagine, Ben, what the betting line is on this.
Yeah, I haven't seen that yet. It may not be out yet. There's still a week to go before the game, so we'll have to keep an eye on that.
Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on that. All right, fantastic. So XFL, I enjoyed the games, the playoff games for sure. And as I watched the Roughnecks get beat, I was sitting there like my mouth open, like, wow.
Yeah, they took it to him, man. I'm telling you. I don't know if there wasn't any real trick plays, but they seem to be extremely balanced. They play really up tempo, and the Roughnecks offense seemed to be totally out of sync. It's kind
Yeah.
of crazy. I don't know what the heck happened.
Well, I guess after you've seen them 2 times, you figured it out, and But yeah, it was a good weekend of playoff football for that. Where, as you said, semifinal championship,
Yeah. Semifinal day.
semifinal day. All right, Ben. I remember last week we were talking about the article about Lamar Jackson, and the article was about his time at Louisville and his coach Petrino,
Right.
and his conversion to becoming a passing pocket type quarterback.
Okay.
And I remember talking to you, and I'm saying, okay, wait, hold. If he established himself as a pocket quarterback, why would the Ravens run him in the option like that when he came to the pros? That it didn't make sense to me. So
Okay.
you said, well, when you go watch the tape, you'll see he's going to be in a lot of shotgun, and he's going to, et cetera, et cetera. So I did. I went back to look at tape. And the reason I went back to look at tape is because, again, listening to his words. Now, let me read to you what the article quotes Lamar as saying. It says here, Jackson has no dream about running the read option anyway. Petrino is a pro-style coach, and Jackson believes that's the only way to make it in the NFL. Again, that's what he's here for. Quote, I noticed a lot of dual threat quarterbacks in the shotgun and the pistol. A lot of them don't last forever, Jackson says. I want to be in the pocket. Jackson doesn't like to be compared with dual threat quarterbacks, even though he is a threat both running and passing. In some ways, Petrino says that term itself has a strangely limiting connotation. Quote, what you see now is the recruiting thing has all changed, Petrino says. Now those recruiting services are ranking guys as dual threats or as a good passer. You could be the best thrower in the entire country, but because you can also run, then you'll just be over here in the dual threat category. So as if the dual threat category is somewhat lesser than a pocket passer. So
wait, say that one more time. The last thing you said.
As if he said again, it's as if the dual threat category is a lesser category than the pocket passer category.
Okay.
So I'm listening to this, and I'm reading, Jackson saying, dual threat, a lot of them don't last forever. I want to be in the pocket. So that's his quote.
Okay.
So I go to YouTube, and all I see is Lamar Jackson highlights taking off. Yeah, he's outrunning everybody.
Exactly the same thing I saw.
Now, he threw some passes. I say
yes, he did.
Okay. But the lights went on when he started running. And that's all people could see. That's all people could talk about.
Right.
But the interesting thing is, as I'm looking at this, I'm going, oh, wait a minute. He's running an awful lot here, for a guy who wants to be in the pocket. So I looked at his attempts at passing and his rushing attempts in the 3 years that he played there.
Okay.
He's got, let's go. It started out as 247 passing attempts and 163 rushing attempts. 400, the next year was 409 passing attempts and 260 rushing attempts. The year after that, it was 430 passing attempts and 232 rushing attempts.
Okay.
So literally, he was running a third to a quarter of the time for a guy who says he wanted to be a pocket quarterback.
Right.
Just for comparison's sake, I went to C.J. Stroud's stats as a quote pocket quarterback. 2 years I have for C.J. Stroud. 1 year he had 389 passing attempts. He had 47 rushing attempts.
Right.
The next year he had 441 passing attempts. He had 32 passing attempts. So that's compared to Lamar Jackson with 163 rushing attempts, 260 and 232 from a guy who says he wants to be a pocket quarterback.
Okay.
It's like there's a credibility gap here from what he's saying and what he's doing. You know how many people say, don't listen to what he's saying. Look and watch what he's doing.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I don't necessarily want to say anything to damage his credibility, but I have a funny feeling that whenever that interview took place, whoever he was talking to at the time, when he actually said that quote, he probably felt it was the right thing to say at the time. And I'm not saying he doesn't believe that he needs to be able to work in the pocket, that he needs to be able to throw the ball well from the pocket in the NFL, because he does. Okay? But to say, I'd rather be a pocket passer than a dual threat quarterback, to me, that's extreme. When you obviously are already an accomplished dual threat quarterback, and the only way you could be better, as far as I'm concerned, is to be able to throw the ball a little bit better, which you can learn to do over time in the NFL. You know, your running ability is already top notch.
He did spend a lot of time in the pistol at Louisville too.
Yes, he did. The pistol and the shotgun.
Was talking a lot of that pocket smack, but yet still was set.
In fact, he hardly ever was under center. It's crazy.
Well, in the article, they said that he was actually pretty good under center, but you're right. He was mostly all in the shot. Now, the shotgun, to be quite honest with you, as far as I'm concerned, you can be a pocket quarterback and operate from the shotgun. When I went through all of the playbooks, and again, the Madden playbooks, because I was looking for Lamar to see who had options and who didn't and all of that.
Right.
Every team was predominantly a shotgun squad. So that's just status quo right now.
But teams that don't have a dual threat quarterback use the shotgun for as a time issue, so that the quarterback does not have to backpedal out away from the center. Gives him that extra second to maybe take 2 steps to 3 steps instead of a 7-step drop, and be able to throw passes and also not have to lose focus of the defense as he drops back. So yeah, that's great. That's fine. But again, and you're going to find that more and more as you watch college football. All these guys are out of the shotgun, and because the coach is trying to make it as easy as possible for them, to not have to take their eyes off the defense once they make their reads and all that stuff. So,
well, again, this struck me because these were Lamar Jackson's words, and when he said the part about, I noticed that the guys, they don't last that long, these dual threat quarterbacks. He said that in college, but I'm sure he didn't say that at the contract negotiation. That's what the Ravens was saying.
In the contract negotiations, he said, I'm the best dual threat quarterback out there. Every team in the NFL is trying to find the next Lamar Jackson.
Well,
you got the real deal.
That's the thing about the dual threat, because again, when he was coming out, they were talking about the dual threat as being lesser, you know. Now, like you're saying, everybody wants that dual threat if they can find it,
Right.
that highly mobile, you know what I mean,
Right.
quarterback. And, you know, I mean, even myself, you know, on Madden, I'm still playing with Trey Lance. You can do things with Trey Lance you can't do with them other guys, you know. So I truly understand it. But yeah, that was upset. That was interesting to me. Not upsetting, but interesting. You know, he gave his mother $8 million as a gift since she was, quote, his agent. Interesting when I
What
looked.
percentage of that was that? What percentage of his contract was that?
3%. 3. He rounded it up. It was like 7 million, something. He rounded it up to 8 million. I'm like, dude, give your mom.
Okay, I'm just curious.
I'm like, first of all, you could have paid Clutch Sports and gave your mom 10 million out of all that money you made. You know what I mean? And then there is the question as to if you had Clutch Sports, would you maybe have gotten a better deal? Maybe even more money, you know? Because I mean, let's face it, you know, Jalen Hurts, I don't think he has an MVP to his name yet. Neither one have won a Super Bowl, you know.
That's right.
And
That's right.
Lamar Jackson is, you know, preeminent. So, you know, that's a possibility. But in any event, yeah, he rounded mom up on 3% and took care of mom. I'm sure that she ain't mad with the 8 million. So I love the stories where they take care of mom, they buy her a house, they buy her a car, they do all that stuff. The one guy just recently told his mom she can give her 2 weeks notice at work. She ain't gonna work no more.
That's great, man. I love that kind of stuff.
Oh, I love that stuff. I know. It's beautiful stuff. It's beautiful stuff.
Let me just talk about this in general. Like I said, when it comes to mock drafts and the real draft and drafting and grading players, rookies coming in, and veteran players, when you're looking at stats and trying to determine who's this and who's that and who's number one and blah, 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 there's a lot of media outlets that put stuff out on these kind of things. But my favorite media outlet is Pro Football Focus. I just think Pro Football Focus is so much more on top of everything. Not to say that or cast any shade on NFL.com or ESPN or even Yahoo Sports, they do a really bang up job too. But I think Pro Football Focus, I know when they grade players, they grade every single snap and every single play that each and every player in the NFL takes part in, and do several categories of each player in each play that they do.
Yeah.
I don't know how they do it. I guess they use a whole lot of computers and a whole lot of film, but that's what they do. So I really respect any information that Pro Football Focus puts out. And Pro Football Focus has put out the 2023 NFL draft grades for all 32 teams. Now, I don't want to go through all 32 teams, but there's, excuse me?
Ha
Yeah, I'm not gonna do that. However, there are some teams of note that I do want to talk about. Number one, let's get this out of the way. We do broadcast from Philadelphia. So I'm assuming that we have a good number of Eagles fans that may be looking in. So let's talk about the Eagles really, really quick. Let me see. Philadelphia. I should be able to jump to this, but the website won't let me anymore. So I have to scroll. Oh, here we are, LMNOP. Well, I tell you what, before I do that, the one that popped up right in front of me is my team, the New York Giants. The New York Giants were given an overall draft grade of A+. I am extremely excited about my team. A+. Pro Football Focus gave them an A+. And I don't want to talk about a whole bunch about a lot of the players, but two players in particular. Their number one pick was Deonte Banks, the cornerback out of Maryland. who, when I did my mock draft, I talked about how good this guy was at man-to-man coverage. And Pro Football Focus actually spoke on it. Not only that, but his speed. He ran a 4.35 40. They called him an elite athlete, and they said that he's improved. He's proven that he can mirror wide receivers in college and has the size that teams look for at the position. And they expect him to be a really, really good cover corner in the NFL. They actually statistically had him as the only the third best corner in this class. But they love him. They say he can fly. He does run a 4.35, and he can play man-to-man coverage with the best of them. And then they came back, got a center, and then they came back and got a wide receiver in round 3. A guy that I gave a round 1 grade to, Jalen Hyatt. He's the guy I told you kind of reminded me of Tyreek Hill. He's a little bit bigger. He's 6 feet tall. He only weighs about 175, 180, but he can fly. He runs, I believe he did a sub 4.44 and a sub 4.40, I meant to say. And deep routes is his thing. That's something that the Giants were missing. So he's going to fit in really nicely there.
Hey, Ben.
Yes.
I keep thinking about Lamar Jackson. We're talking about Lamar Jackson.
Yes.
And when we looked at the combine, we talked about how many DBs were running these sub 4.4 40s.
Yes.
Like these cornerbacks, man, are flying.
Yes, they are.
And I just keep thinking to myself, Lamar Jackson signs this contract, he's going to take off and he's going to look up and somebody's going to be running his butt.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. They're going to be on him. They're going to be on him.
It's some speed coming out of this combine.
Right. Now, let's talk about the Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles also got an overall draft grade of A+. And I know after being on social media for the past week that every Eagles fan out there would agree 100% that an A+ grade is exactly what the Eagles should have got. Right now, Howie Roseman, the GM, is up for sainthood in this city. Everybody's loving him. I can remember there was a few years ago, back a little bit before they won the Super Bowl in 2018, that they were ready to hang tar and feather this dude. People were hating Howie Roseman. But guess what? They love him now. The first pick of Jalen Carter was a big deal. Then they came back and got Nolan Smith. They're calling that a big deal. Both these guys are from Georgia. They took 2 guys from Georgia last year, and they got another Georgia player in round 4, a corner, Keely Ringo, who some people had given a first-round grade to.
Yeah. I remember reading about him. And Nolan just fell in their lap. They didn't have to move around and give up nothing.
Yeah, the only issue
about like 30 or something like that.
Yeah. Pick number 30 in the first round.
And that was just a pick. They didn't have to wheel and deal.
They didn't have to move or anything.
Yeah.
Right. The only knock on him, I think, maybe reason why another team didn't take him earlier is because of his size. He's a little smallish for defensive end, but he's really, really fast. He has great get off, and he's got good strength for his size. But again, now they're calling these guys the Philadelphia Bulldogs because they have so many Georgia players. So all I know is a lot of the fans are really happy. I haven't heard.
They got a couple of Bama guys too, didn't they?
I remember
they said something about the SEC.
Tyler Steen, round 3. Tyler Steen, an offensive tackle.
Yeah, they got a couple of Bama guys too. Okay, so Eagles got an A+.
Eagles got an A+.
All right, congratulations.
So right under them is the Pittsburgh Steelers. I was happy that Joey Porter was able to get his son was able to get picked by the Pittsburgh Steelers. I like the bloodlines lineage thing. That's going to work out. They also got an A+ for anybody. I know there's a lot of Pittsburgh fans seeing as how we're in Pennsylvania. And your team, the San Francisco 49ers, because of a lot of trades this way and that way, you guys didn't pick until round 3. However, you did have 3 picks in round 3. Pick number 87 overall, 99 overall, and pick 101 overall. However, your overall draft grade was a C- by Pro Football Focus. Now, I think what they're doing, well, I don't think what they're doing, I know what they're doing, is they're taking your entire draft overall, looking at the quality of player, and also looking at if you actually filled the needs that they felt you needed to fill. Okay. It looks to me like you guys filled a lot of needs. I mean, but I don't know if they felt like you got the quality player that you could have in the rounds that you pick. But it's tough when you don't pick till round 3. So you guys were definitely working under a handicap. The first guy you took, though, is Jair Brown, who is a safety, who I know you need because you lost some DBs, right? Anyway, they lost some DBs. They picked up a safety with their first pick in the 3rd round, Jair Brown. They actually like Jair Brown. He's from Penn State. He played with Joey Porter Jr. This is a very multifaceted player. Not only did he play deep in cover 1 as a safety, but he also played in the box like an outside linebacker. He also plays slot corner. He can play tight ends. He can fill the A gap as a linebacker. This guy can pretty much do it all. Very highly skilled, 10 interceptions over the last 2 seasons that he played, and has got great ball skills. After that, I don't want to go too deep, but I know they did also pick a kicker with one of those 3rd round picks, a Jake Moody out of Michigan, who is basically the consensus best place kicker in this draft. Picking a kicker in round 3 is a little rare, but I think they felt that this guy was definitely worth it. So they went ahead and made that move.
Plus, Ben, you have to add in there that for whatever reason, Gold, our current kicker, is intent on looking into free agency. So for some reason, he wants to go someplace else. I think he thinks he can.
Hasn't hooked up with a team yet.
Else. Huh?
Has he hooked up with a team yet?
Nope, not that I know of.
So evidently, he's still out there fishing for a team.
I mean, he's money, man. I kept.
Oh, no doubt about it. He's been a great
on the
kicker for a
precipice
really
of winning a
long
Super
time.
Bowl.
Absolutely, he's been a really good kicker for a really long time.
Yeah, yeah.
So he'll hook on with somebody. Kickers are kind of there's some teams out there that'll bring in 3 kickers once training camp starts and let them battle it out. So any team that brings him in, he will probably win a battle. You know what I mean? So he may be in a position to kind of call his own shot as far as what team he goes to. We'll see.
Well, I'm glad we got one. So
yeah, you got one. And this guy's, like I said, from everything I've heard and seen from all the media outlets and the journalistic guys and all the guys on TV, Jake Moody is considered the best place kicker coming out of college this year. So you got that guy.
Well, you're not kicking in the dome, and you're not kicking in thin air. So but you are kicking in a lot of windy areas. This is San Francisco, so
yeah. But he's from Michigan.
That's what I'm saying.
So
if he can deal with all of those elements, he's just right.
Exactly. He's got the wind coming off of Lake Michigan. He's got the cold. He's got the snow. Yeah, he's ready.
Good. Kicking in the outdoors. Well, considering, that we didn't get anything to the 3rd round, couldn't give us an A per se, I guess.
Yeah, that's tough, man.
That's okay. That's okay. I think we did pretty good, all things considered. You know what I mean? So, and the Eagles, obviously, like you said, they had a great draft. Kudos to those guys. I didn't know your Giants did as well as they did, to get that type of a grade. And I'm surprised to hear about the Steelers, to be quite honest with you. What did the Texans get? You know,
The Texans, yes. We can look at the Texans. Let's see, that would be Houston.
that's our favorite guy, C.J. Stroud. We thought he should go number one, but they got him.
Yeah.
That's another one of my Niner offshoots there. D'Amico Ryan at head coach. So,
Okay, the Houston Texans got a B minus.
oh,
Not
really?
bad. Not bad at all.
Okay.
First of all, their first two picks are top quality players. They got C.J. Stroud with the second pick overall in round one, and then they traded up for the number 3 pick overall, and they took Will Anderson Jr., who was arguably the best edge rusher available. So they hit 2 home runs right off the bat there, and then after that, Pro Football Focus has several of their other players that they drafted rated fairly high for their positions. They got a center. They took a wide receiver, Nathaniel Dell. This is the guy they call Tank. His nickname is Tank. Tank Dell. He's out of Houston. Him and C.J. Stroud are friends somehow. I don't know if they went to high school together or played against each other. C.J. Stroud actually went to the Houston Brass and put in a word for Tank Dell, and they picked him in the 3rd round.
Wow.
Yeah, so they're showing a lot of belief in their quarterback already,
Wow.
which I believe is a good thing.
Wait till Aaron Rodgers hears about this.
Well, he got Randall Cobb a new job. This guy, man, he's something else, boy. I tell you.
You had to like what he said though when Zach Wilson had said something earlier, and I think it was before they actually got Aaron. He said, "Whoever comes in, I'm gonna make his life hell." Right? Aaron Rodgers said, "I'm gonna make his life heaven." It's gonna be heaven.
Yep.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. All right, so congratulations to those teams that got those grades. Do we have that article up on our Facebook page?
No, we don't, but I'll make sure you get it.
All right, fantastic. We'll get that up there for everybody. Now, before we go to our social media, Ben, there's a reason why we're recording on Thursday and not Wednesday. What did you think
Oh, jeez.
last night?
Do we have to? You're gonna make me cuss on here, man. I try not to cuss on here. First of all, let me say this. I'm a Sixers fan. I'm not an Eagles fan, but I am a Sixers fan. Okay. And my daughter is a big Sixers fan. Her cubicle at work has banners and all of it. It's crazy. But anyway, that game 1, I was confident going into that game. People were like, "Oh, what do you think, man? They're not going to have Embiid." I said, "You know what? Boston's not that good. They got good players, but they're not that good." I said, "I've seen these guys play without Embiid during the regular season and really put some good games together." I didn't predict Harden going off for 45, but I did say, or I said, and I agreed with Shaq, who said the same thing. If Harden can be 30-ish and Tyrese Maxey and Tobias Harris can be in the mid to upper 20s, they can pull that game out. They were both in the mid to lower 20s, and Harden went for 45, and they won that game. And man, that was a great game, man. We were over here skitzing, man, screaming at the TV. What a win. But after that, I told some people that I was talking to about the Sixers, please, I hope they do not play Embiid in game 2. Couple reasons.
Really?
Yes. Number 1, give him a little bit more time to get used to his knee brace. Because what I'm hearing is he's been practicing, but every time he practiced, he was trying out all these different knee braces because he didn't want to wear one anyway, but he knew he needed one for precautionary measures. So they wanted to find the one that was most comfortable for him. So that would give him a little bit more time to find one that was comfortable and get some good practices in. You get a little bit more time if he didn't play in game 2. Also, they already had the psychological edge, having beaten Boston on their court without Embiid. So now, if they go back in game 2, they're confident that they can do it again. Boston knows they could possibly do it again. And even if Boston blows them out, as they did, it's still without Embiid. Then you come to Philly for game 3. He gets his MVP trophy. The crowd goes bananas. You know what I'm saying? That's when you bring him back. They didn't listen to me, man.
Yeah, man. Trying to get those guys to listen sometimes it's an amazing thing.
Yeah, I know.
And
he looked good. He had 5 block shots.
It started out good. I was sitting up there, I was watching the game, and excuse me, I was doing some working things. And I looked up, and the next thing I know, they were on like a down 20, something like close to that. That's when I fired up the Madden game. I'm like, okay, no need me watching the rest of this.
I was like, I can't watch it. They started substituting dudes. I was like, yeah, they throwing in the towel.
Yeah,
I'm done.
You're done. So
I'm done.
All right, Benny, let's take a quick look at Ben and Barry on football on Facebook and see what we got here. There's a few things we can talk about real quick as we wrap it up. Wrap it up. All righty. First thing is the new Mr. Irrelevant, Deshaun Johnson, DN out of Toledo, 6'2", 285.
Okay.
So he is the new Mr. Irrelevant. Keep your eyes out on him. And he's got big shoes to fill for sure. Now that Purdy has made the Mr. Irrelevant thing look like I don't know, look like the pot.
I'll say this: he's gotten himself into a good situation because again, Detroit's doing a lot of turnover on their defense. So if he gets in the camp and shows he's got the goods, he could get himself into a starting spot.
Or at least get on the special teams and be on the 53-man roster.
Yeah, you're right. Let's worry about him making the team first. You're right.
The 53-man roster. Ben, real quick, according to 35KY Sports, for the first time in NFL's history, 4 of the 5 top picks in the NFL draft were represented by Black agents.
Excellent.
So they have names here. Let's see if I can get these names. Congratulations to Tony Dandy, Nicole Lynn, David Mulugeta, Melvin Bratton, Kelton Crenshaw, Derek Jackson, and Reggie Johnson.
Wait a minute. Scroll that down so I can see. Oh, I see him. Melvin Bratton. Melvin Bratton, the guy with the white beard there.
Him.
Yeah. He played for Miami back in the heyday.
Miami.
Remember when University of Miami was kicking everybody's
University
behind?
of Miami, okay.
Yes, he was a running back. Melvin Bratton.
Wow.
Yeah, man. He played before he played running back before before Gore and McGahee and them got there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think he played with Michael Irvin.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, he was on those teams, man, when they were stomping teams out.
Okay.
That's good. That's good. He's an agent now. That's great.
Yeah. So again, in support of Black agents, let's see what else we got here. We talked about a little bit of the XFL. We didn't talk much about the USFL. I don't think the Philly Stars are doing too well, Ben. I think they need
really.
Yeah, I think
the heck
work.
The heck is going on? They were just in the chip.
But they didn't win it last year. Somebody else.
Yeah, they lost. They lost in the championship.
Yeah. All right. We talked about the Seattle Sea Dragons and the DC Defenders. I put the this link up here, Play Football NFL.com. Youth, young people, people who want to play all types of football, whether it be tackle or flag, can go here and find leagues.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so they have a lot of support information and things of that nature. So wherever you are, if you want to play some football, this is where you click on this link, follow this link, and they'll tell you where you can join a league at. Excuse me. So sad to see this young man derail his life. Henry Ruggs III unconditionally waived his right to a preliminary hearing, pled guilty to a fatal DUI. And I was just so sad to hear this, man, because, you know, another speed guy, you know.
Yeah.
So such promise, such promise. Oh, we don't want to see this now. We don't want to see Madden.
No, we don't want to see
The
that.
NFL now is facing workplace discrimination probes in New York and California.
I heard about this today.
Now, I'll be quite honest. I read through the article. Number one, it's going to be interesting to see how they parse between the NFL as an independent entity and the teams themselves. Because let's take the Commanders. When the Commanders had all the graft and all the stuff that was coming out about the Commanders and they were putting out statements and stuff, the question is here, did the NFL kind of help them cover it up a little bit? You know, is the NFL at all involved in some of this stuff? Then you got, you know, you got these different lawsuits. You got the lawsuit coming from the Miami with black who's the black coach who sued?
Oh, Flores.
They mentioned that in there, but they kind of went all the way back to who was the running back who hit his girlfriend in the elevator.
Remember Ray Rice. Ray Rice.
Yeah, I don't know why they brought Ray Rice up because, you know, that wasn't the administration, but they threw that in the article too. I thought that was taking it a bit far, you know. But this will be interesting. Again, this is New York and California. So you got both ends of the coast, both coasts covered here. And we'll see how that continues to work out.
Wow.
You know, Rendell is smooth, man. So, you know, y'all better have y'all act together here. Y'all gonna go after it. All right, Benny. As it says, thanks for the following. Please leave comments and suggestions. Our hashtag is football is life. Did I mention to you I had court duty? And
yeah.
About the lady singing to us.
Right.
So that's where we are. I'm so glad we had this time together. Last comments. You get the last word as usual.
My last comment is I gotta watch the USFL games. Because now after watching the XFL, I'm hooked again. You know what I'm saying? There's some good football being played out there. I know people are saying, it's not the NFL. I won't watch it. Watch some of these games, man. They're very entertaining.
I saw a Beckham-esque one-handed catch.
I saw a couple. And XFL, you only got to have one foot in. So there's going to be some great catches.
And I mean, this was a great snag. So yeah, you know, it's football, and again, you know, it was interesting to see the different different types of schemes and stuff that they use. Ben, what was it called? The three back, when we talked about the three backs back there.
Oh, the T formation?
I'm like, they brought the T formation out? Really?
Yeah, man.
And it worked like a charm.
They went back to like the 40s or something. Jeez.
It worked. I'm like, is that three backs back there? And they turned around and handed off to the third back. He had two blockers in front of him. I think he had a guy pulling, guard pulling. I'm like, now that's what you call a power sweep, baby.
And if that was the first time they did that, so it wasn't scouted. You know what I'm saying? So the defense was probably like, what the hell?
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Holy mackerel. So yeah, some fun football going on. And we will be tuning into the USFL, following to see what those guys are doing this year. All right, that's all I got.
Catch y'all later. Peace.